Recording in progress.
Recording is in progress. Welcome everyone. Thank you for coming out on such a beautiful night, actually. Beautiful night for a beautiful man, one who I love dearly. It's the first time that he's ever been to Roots to Wings, and we're so happy to have him here.
See lots of
It will remain to be seen if he's going to be as great as Jovina.
Yeah. Let me just spare you. I'm not going to be as great as Jovina. Nothing is as great as Jovina.
Yeah, we got that on video too.
Yeah, that's right. She will love hearing that.
That'll give me 2 free nights in Big Sur.
Exactly. We have an ongoing competition for the rest of our lives.
And it's also great to see so many people that I love and people that I love that I don't know I love yet because I haven't met you, but I love you all. And I'm Mike, and my wife Beth will be in the room short. She's here already. She's the real mastermind behind all of this. I'm just like the front man. So she does all the real work. I get to do all this kind of stuff. But if you need anything, there's 2 bathrooms downstairs, and have fun. How many people are coming tomorrow? How many people are thinking about coming tomorrow? All right. Okay, good. Awesome.
Thank you.
You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready. What are we talking about?
Path to love?
Is that what this is? Are you sure?
Yeah.
That's what he advertised it as.
He advertised it as the path of love.
Path to love.
Path
Path
to love.
to love.
Yeah.
I love
We
that.
want to know what the path to love is.
Path to love. I do too. So, all right. Come on, Lord, channel something.
See, it doesn't matter that I didn't remember what the talk was going to be about, because you don't know either.
We all know that. You know, the other thing I noticed that was very interesting was how many people had a notebook.
Yeah.
I'd like to. Are they too bright? Do you want them down?
No, it's fine. I
Okay.
thought you forgot them from
Okay.
the picture.
Oh no, we
You
put them
wanna
on
look at
so
it-
that
you wanna look at
it
it
gives a
on
little
video.
more front light, but but if it's more comfortable, we can turn them down.
The lights up there, maybe.
These ones have to stay.
Oh,
But
they
those,
don't dim.
how's that? Better?
Much more romantic.
All right, so much more romantic. There we go.
We're looking up to
Mood lighting. All right,
I'm
so
going to have to edit and splice that whole thing.
how wonderful. I'm so glad you're here. I'm really honored that you came. I got a couple of wonderful stories that I want to say just about some of the people that are here, actually. So we have a group of 4 people who, the 5 of us met in Maui. Some of us knew each other before, in other ways, all of us did actually. And they came to Maui when was it? March, April. And if you want to know, we had a great time. So we're having
Go to Maui.
a really wonderful sort of reunion just in our group here together, which is great. So I wanted to say that. Then we've got Kamesh and Gita and Narayan, which are all weird Sanskrit names. The 3 of us and the 4 of us have been a part of a group called the Acharya program that was 10 years ago, which is really freaking amazing to me. And Jovina and I led this year-long transformational program. It was supposed to be year-long, and well, here we are 10 years later, still in it. I think at year 6 we said, I think we're done. somewhere around that, but here
We
we
decided it
are.
didn't work. No transformations.
So it's really great to continue to see each other. And then it was really great to hear from Mary. And tell me your name again. Carol. And they were in transformational workshops that we had at Kripalu. Again, like we were trying, like 15 years ago, which is really wonderful. So it's great. I'm having a fun sort of reunion. And I've got Jill, who actually worked at Kripalu. And as I was sort of transitioning out towards our end there. So really fun to be here. Maui's such a small community. I literally feel like I live in an ashram, which is a really great thing for me because I lived at Kripalu for 9.5 years, the first time when it was a yoga ashram. So I lived there all during the 80s when it was a cloistered, celibate, renunciate, community of yogis, which was really one of my all-time favorite periods of my life. A great honor to have that in my life. But I wanted to say that my beautiful sister Gita here has an obsession addiction with sound bowls. And she has she found her inner musician and inner singer since we've known her. She got a harmonium, she started singing and chanting, and she upgraded to these amazing sound bowls. So we're going to start by just sort of tuning in to some sound meditation. Has anybody gone online, raise your hand if you've been in a sound bath of any kind. Never mind. Right? Okay, so come on up, Gita. We're going to use this sound as a tuning. So in yoga, there's principles that guide everything, and often people get really attached to their form, and it's not really about the form of the practices, it's about the principles that underlie them. So the principle, and one of the reasons why sound baths work so well as a form of meditation, is learning how to focus your attention is a really amazing piece of yoga. And being able to be in charge of your attention is what it's all about. And there's a person, a being, a consciousness, a self inside of you that actually is the director of your awareness. Okay? So often, most people aren't really in charge of their attention. They're attracted over here, they're disgusted over there, it's just the way I am, and we're just whipped around by whatever grabs our attention. And when you're in charge of your attention, you really get to decide, this is what I'm going to place my attention on, this is a thought I'm having now, I choose to take my attention off of this thought and place my attention on this thought. And it's a big piece of creating your reality, is being in charge of your attention. Being in charge of your attention gets you in touch with the part of yourself that in yoga is called the Vijnana Maya Kosha, your witness consciousness. And your witness consciousness is the non-judgmental, compassionate self-observation that is in charge of everything. It's the high self, non-judgmental, compassionate self-observation. And every yoga practice that we have, be it asana, be it pranayama, be it different forms of meditation, is to establish non-judgmental, compassionate self-observation in all that we do. And when you establish that witness consciousness, that's the self that's in charge of the attention, and that's really the voice of your highest self. So in sound bowls, what's so cool is often people have really cool experiences because the ears, when you tune into a sound and you place your attention on that sound, it can be very hypnotic. And these sounds, and you're going to say something about the sound bowls themselves and the purity of these sounds, they resonate and they create vibration. So it's a very sensual, vibrational experience. And it's really easy for many people to go into deeper states of meditation because these are such cool ways to focus the attention. So that's just a little introduction before Gita gives us.
Lisa had seen the bowls and said something about, like, I've only seen the white bowls before, which many of you may have seen, and they are called classic frosted bowls, and they're made of 100% pure quartz. And they're amazing instruments on their own. These are slightly different than that. They are made of quartz, but they also have infused in them gemstones, so semi-precious stones, and sometimes precious metals are also infused in them too. So they're quartz, they're gemstones, and then sometimes precious metals, and all infused. And these bowls in particular are made at a very, very high heat. The elements come together at like 4,000 degrees plus, and they're singly molded at one time. So there's not an in and out process with it. It's like a single process, and that contributes to the purity of them. So on top of it being quartz crystal, which amplifies everything, that's what quartz does, you're also getting the benefit of these other properties of the semi-precious stones. So there's a lot right here, there's a lot of love in these bowls. So emerald, which of course is associated with the heart chakra, the anahata chakra. This is rose quartz, which is one of the stones of compassion and love and tenderness and gentleness. This is rhodochrosite, which we could go into what all these gemstones are, but they have different qualities that they're going to bring. And they're very pure vibration. So what we know about resonance is wherever there's a lower dissonant sound, a higher vibration and a harmonic sound will basically transform that lower sound. So part of what I am drawn to about this is that I feel it's, especially in these times, it's so accessible. It's such an easy, simple way for everyone to raise and shift their vibration. So you don't have to know anything, you don't have to, do anything special, you just be open to receive it. So, good?
Yeah. Get comfortable.
Close your eyes if that feels good to you, and yeah, take in a deep breath and then let it out through the mouth. And if you feel that sort of natural relaxation that comes from that audible out breath, then try that maybe 1 or 2 more times. Just releasing, softening. Moving into a natural breath. Inviting the sense of sound to open, to be receptive.
continue with your eyes closed. Love. 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 I love. I love. I love. What is love? What is love to you? Very slowly, gently bring your palms together in front of your heart, your eyes closed. This gesture of palms together in front of the heart is a gesture, perhaps maybe the only gesture, that all cultures, that all indigenous cultures around the world share. The bringing together of the hands in front of the heart. And in most cultures it all means the same thing. It's a gesture of love, of prayer, of coming together of opposites in front of the heart center, of being joined together, the right and left. Very gently open your eyes and just look around you and take the time to look around you at the beings here. Move slow. Feel free to let your gaze actually land in someone's eyes rather than immediately divert away. Just greet. So at Kripalu, they adopted a saying that in India in different places in India. Many of you have heard Namaste at the end of yoga classes, or Namaskar, depending upon where you are. And at Kripalu, where Swami Kripalu came from, which was a Gujarat state, what they said to greet people was, palms together, Jai Bhagwan. 2 words, Jai Bhagwan. And Jai means victory, like Jai, victory to everything. And Bhagwan is your infinite, eternal, whole, indestructible self. So when you say Jai Bhagwan, you're saying victory to your eternal soul. Jai Bhagwan, I salute the eternal being within you, that you are, recognizing the transitory form that we get to, glare at for a bit, but really looking beyond that to say, Jai Bhagwan, I see you. I see the infinite self. I join with you. Jai Bhagwan. Good evening. That was freaking amazing. Wow. Wow. That was a special unknown gift. Gita, I knew Gita was coming, of course, but she was like, I brought my bowls. And I'm like, you're definitely doing the bowls. So, like, wow. Thank you so much, Gita.
Thank you.
That could have been the whole night. So, and the way, I don't know if any of you were watching, but the way one transitions into another, and and she, of course, plays them beautifully. It's just so beautiful. So thank you. And as I was listening to them, it, rang true for what I wanted to speak about in regards to love, which is a really mischievous thing to talk about. Love, because we all have it's a tricky thing, this thing called love, and it brings up a lot of mischief. And there are people who have a hard time saying I love you and throw a lot of meaning into I love you, and then people who say I love you to everybody, and then it doesn't mean anything, and then it's like there's the Hallmark cards, and then it's like, what is love? So just as a fun introduction here to that's the question. What is love? So what is love to you? That's the question we get to play with. What is love?
Unconditional kindness.
Unconditional. Unconditional kindness.
It's a vibration that disarms the defenses.
Vibration. I love that. That disarms. I love that. That's so great. A vibration that disarms. It really goes, this was why when Gita was playing the bowls and she talked about how, these bowls raise lower vibrations. My experience of the vibration of love is that it does that it raises lower vibrations. So we'll get to say more about that, and hopefully compassion, Carol, compassion. So just to dig further into that, what does compassion mean to you?
To be able to relate to someone, their suffering, their pain, their joy.
Okay, so can we? So it's to relate, and
to yourself as well.
To the self and others. And can I add the word empathy, because you were saying like in an empathetic way to empathize. See a self as yourself, to empathize. What is love?
Opening of the heart.
Opening the heart.
To all.
Patty, opening the
To
heart.
all, to everything.
Don't take it that far, Patty. Opening the heart. Can we be selective?
Yeah.
Even him? How to say it? Whoever that him was. I didn't say anything. Opening your heart to all. What else? You got, Gita?
I was going to say it's a pervasive benevolent field.
Pervasive, benevolent field. Great, that's cool. Yes, tell me your name.
I'm Carol.
Hey, Carol. Carol and Carol. That's
Yes.
awesome. And you know each other. I like that.
I love this last one, and I would say that doesn't, I can't think of the word I want, but does not allow fear. That it excludes, so it's I would add
All
on to
right,
that.
so I'm like that. Does not, but this is allow fear. That's interesting. We're going to get back to that. I like
Or
that.
doubt.
That's very cool. Pardon?
Doesn't allow fear or doubt.
Okay, we'll add that. We'll make that one yours. Or doubt. Yes.
Absence of judgment.
Absence of judgment. I don't know. For those of us who have kids, this. I always said to my kids very early on, you know that unconditional love thing that some people are into? I'm not into it. Here's the deal. My love is very conditional. And I'm just going to be really honest about that. I said, here's how unconditional love works. I will always love you. You can be a prisoner, you can be a killer, you can be, a drug addict. I will always love you. But liking you, whole different ballgame. Liking has a lot of conditions. That liking each other, we may not like each other. I'll always love you. But we may not like each other. Let's aim for seeing if we like each other. So, and then we have to ask, is like and love, how do they go together? Is love unconditional? For those of us who are parents, boy, it's a lot. That unconditional love thing isn't necessarily the best parenting skill.
I think love is acceptance of yourself and acceptance of where everybody else is at.
Acceptance, I love that. Acceptance of self, others, and then I would even go beyond that. I'm just going to add, yes, acceptance of self and others, but I would say then of this predicament that we're in, called life. We're all in this really weird predicament called life. So it's pretty hard to, when you get the predicament, it's pretty hard to judge people. It's like, I don't know, do you know what's going on here? I don't know what's going on. Do you know what's going on here? Okay.
It's an iconic Nat King Cole song.
What is it? Yeah.
Love.
Yeah. Give us a few words.
M is for the way you
That was Nat King Cole?
for the
Okay.
only
I like it.
I see.
Nat King Cole.
He is
Very, very extraordinary.
He is even more than anyone that you adore.
That dates us. I want to know. If we had a younger crowd here, they'd be going, huh? Today Narayan and Kamesh and I we had the honor of being with a group of 16-year-olds, which was really amazing to have, somebody went, whoa, let me say, whoa. But what was really great was I brought up this commercial that some of you might remember about Coke that was in the 70s, which was it's the real thing, what the world needs today.
I'd like to
Anyway.
teach them.
Yes.
Perfect harmony. So basically, drink a Coke and we're gonna have world peace. It's perfect marketing. And they came out during the Vietnam War, which is really interesting. So everybody was like, "Yes, drink a Coke, we'll have world peace." So, love is a Coke. And a Nat King Cole song. Yes, Connie.
All you need.
Love is all you need. We set you up. Huh?
Gotta remember John too.
Yeah.
Oh, so singing bowls, not to sing along.
Sure.
Yeah, all right.
It's divine, it's from
Ooh.
divine. It's from the.
Love is divine. I like that. Godly.
Mm-hmm.
spiritual, can we put all those in there? Spiritual, godly, God is love. How many times have we heard that? God is love.
Selfless. Love is selfless.
Selfless. Again, I'm not on for these selfless. All right, got to throw it up there. Selfless. Love is suffering. Oh, love is suffering.
Huh.
Love is guilt. How's that? You're Jewish. Come on.
Love is the
Huh?
primary theme in most art.
Love is the primary thing in most art. Interesting.
And
Like
music.
music. You know. Yeah.
Poetry.
Wow. Yeah. That's great. That's very cool. Never thought about that. I don't necessarily. I mean, my brain was going into dance and painting and things like that. Yeah.
Oh,
Well, this is a good, just thing to throw. You want to throw passion in
Well,
there? Did you say passion?
no.
Oh.
Yes.
Yes. No.
Passion is in compassion.
Oh, passion in
But
compassion. Right there we
The
go.
word that I've been playing with is connection. But I kind of, as we were going through, came up with, fearless, compassionate, passionate, heart-centered connection.
Okay. Nice.
Something about
Centered,
we
too.
connect with ourselves or others in a way that resonates in this beautiful way.
Well, compassion means feel with, right?
To feel.
I think when you break
come
the
together.
word down, I think that's what it means.
To
Feel with.
feel with compassion.
Mhm.
Feel with passion. Very cool. All right, so
I mean, it
yes.
struck me when you said that we're putting the opposites in front of the heart. Does it dissolve opposites?
Brings them together in front of that heart center, the heart chakra. Many of our traditions, like shaking hands, come actually from sort of nasty things. Like the reason why people shake hands is to say, look, I don't have a weapon, I'm not going to kill you. So we're going to greet as friends, and to probably this is part of that too. Like, look, my hands are, keep your hands to yourself. I thought COVID was really going to bring this back, take handshaking out, and everyone would know, the namaste is really in. All right, I thought this would be good to just ask ourselves that question, like, what is love to you? What is love to us? So when I moved into Kripalu as a young 20-year-old, I certainly was in this question about love. And I moved into Kripalu because I was on a very fervent search for peace. And I really believed that there were practices, there was a way to attain peace during this lifetime. That there was a way to, and that peace and love actually went together. The words, whatever those words were, I was wanting to find a sense of peace, a sense of love, a sense of belonging, a sense of safety, a sense of fulfillment and meaning in life. And to me, that was all the game was about. I had nothing else that was going to attract my attention. And there were reasons in my life that made it that way, but I was like, it's do or die. Like, do not get distracted by materialism. Do not get distracted by what the world says you're supposed to do. Do not get distracted by making money or getting married or love. You're going for fulfillment. You're going for peace. You're going for enlightenment at all costs. And it was like, if that's not here, I'm not interested. Take me out. So with that kind of fervor, I moved into Kripalu. It was much before Kripalu also, but it's what got me there. And I remember the first time I met Yogi Desai. And I was standing in his presence, and it was like the sound bowls. Suddenly, everything in my body started to vibrate. And it was like, and it was like, I could feel it. I could feel things shifting in my energy field. I could feel my brain sort of melting, and I could feel my heart center opening, and I could feel the field shifting and changing, and it was experiential. So it wasn't like this, Hallmark card, I love you. Any word he could have said, I'm going to blow your brains out. It wouldn't have mattered because the vibration was speaking for itself. And I was having an experience that was truly giving me an upgrade. Well, in yoga, that's called Shakti. And Shakti is the energy of love. It's the vibration of love. So I really like this pervasive, benevolent field, and a vibration that disarms, very cool, that disarms, that takes down defenses, that we have. And it shifted me. I was like, whoa, I want that. Like, I want that, quote from him, I want to be in that. I want that again. I want to have that experience as much as possible. But also, I want to be that. I want to upgrade so that my presence creates that upgrade, in and for others. So, wow, how do I do that? That got me. How do I do that? What are the practices? And this is what I love about yoga. I didn't set out with any dedication to yoga. I set out with a dedication to find the truth. Now, I know that that's tricky, because we all know that whatever you believe to be true is true for you, right? So, but my question was, I don't want to just find a truth like you got your truth and you got your truth and you got your truth. I want to know, is there a truth that's true whether you believe it to be true or not? Like gravity. I'm going to drop this. Whether you believe it to be true, that plane's going to drop. There's a law. I was looking for the universal laws that were true whether I believed them to be true or not. What I love about yoga is that it's, often I get asked this question. I lead yoga teacher trainings, and often I get asked this question, is yoga a religion? And I love that question because to me the answer is no, and here's why. In a religion, there's a group of things. We as Catholics believe, and then out comes the belief systems. If you're a Catholic, we as Protestants believe, we as Episcopals believe, like all of it comes down. Everybody's list is different. Well, they split off from so-and-so because of the, number 28 and 29 didn't match, and so so you got your list of beliefs. If you want to be in, you got to believe this belief, these tenets, and often there's a cost for not believing these tenets, like burning in hell forever, or some, just mild circumstances, So I wasn't so into that, like here's what you gotta believe. What I love about yoga is it doesn't give a hoot what you believe. You're not required to believe anything. It is a series of ancient practices that are time-tested from people who have put inquiries into establishing what practices will lead you to an experience of your highest self, of your own highest self, which is beyond belief. Even your best beliefs have to go. Even your most spiritual and kindest beliefs about love have to be taken away to seat yourself beyond belief in a place where nothing is happening except the present, infinite, awesome, outrageous moment of isness that is eternal. So I love that because all beliefs have to go. You have to literally go beyond belief, beyond your mind. Okay? And it doesn't care about what you believe. As a matter of fact, what's wonderful is yoga helps you be the believer of your beliefs, which is a very different experience than being your beliefs. We are never going to find world peace with conversations where we got one believer talking about his beliefs and another believer talking about their beliefs, and they're up. Because the moment I am my beliefs, you've got two choices. You're either with me and you agree, or you don't, and then you're wrong. Or the enemy, even worse. So, very different story if we go, wow, here's what I like to believe. And I choose this belief deliberately because it creates this experience. What do you believe? Wow, and what experience does that create for you? That's a whole different experience in conversation. Those are two people who are deliberately choosing beliefs that create deliberate experiences. The other thing that I like about this aspect of beliefs is none of us know what's going on here. None of us know what's going on here. None of us know what's going on at all. We are floating on a planet in the middle of a stratosphere and gazillions of planets and stars. We've got quantum physicists telling us that none of this is real. None of us have a clue what is going on here. So it is ridiculous that someone sits in a place where they go, I know what's going on. Like, and often the people who say they know what's going on here, they're like 18, 20, 25, they know what's going on. Really you. Out of all this, you're the one who knows what's going on. Really? Oh, wow, how cool. I want to this is a funny little story, but my parents lived in Arizona. They're both passed at this point. And my son was like 8, and my daughter was 4. And we go to my parents' house in Arizona, visiting them, and my kids had never been to church. They'd been to many kirtans and chanting, but they had never been to a church. So it's Sunday, and we're going to church with my parents, okay? So I'm like going, okay, and I'm talking to them in the bedroom. We're going to church. There's no candy. There's no Game Boy. There's no that. You will sit still. You will not say a thing. You will be kind. You will be, this is serious stuff, this church thing. You will sit still, and that's it, and there's no talking, and like, we're off to church, right? So we go to church. My kids were great. It was wonderful. We come back and we're driving home in the car, and my dad says, yes, so I'm on the committee. We're having trouble getting younger people to come to church. And my 8-year-old son says, Papa, that's never going to happen. And he goes, why, Patrick? And he says, because my people my age know that nobody knows what's going on here. And I thought, that is brilliant. That is brilliant. And then he said, and my dad was wonderfully fascinated by that. And he said, yeah, I mean, for my kids, I have to tell you, it was like they could barely stop. They were like, because there was a woman who was very dramatic, speaking in a very inauthentic voice. And then God will come down from the heaven. And my parents were gushing it up, but it was like they were in a Saturday Night Live skit. That was all they were. So really, not to diss church at all, because I grew up in church and loved it. But I thought that was a really good answer, to say, wow. It's just not really too attractive to be someone who thinks you know all the answers. Like, as I like to say, who loves a know-it-all? None of us. Because we know nobody knows what's going on here. So I like to say, we're all making our best wild-ass guesses. A wag, you know what a wag, a wild-ass guess. So I love making my best wild-ass guesses about what's going on here. But it's a very different thing when you know it's a wild-ass guess. You're not a fundamentalist because, as I like to say, you're holding it with a soft grip. I have lots of conviction about the things that I hold, but I know ultimately I could cross over and God could go, Devarshi, you know that past life thing? It's not real. That was it. That was the one life you had. And I go, no problem. It was still the most fun belief to hold while I was here. I like believing past lives. I believe right now that they're true. I mean, that they make sense in my whole life in terms of my experiences. There's things I can't seem to explain without that belief, so I like the belief. Do I care whether I'm right or not? I don't. It doesn't really matter. I do like in A Course in Miracles it says, would you rather be right or would you rather be happy? I think that is a really powerful statement. So that's in regards to this love thing. Also in A Course in Miracles, and this really was a life changer for me. So I got in touch with A Course in Miracles shortly after they got published. And I used to, because again of my fervent search, so I was 15 years old. I might have been 14, and this was way back in the late 60s, early 70s, and there was an occult bookstore, okay, in downtown Chicago. What I had to do to get to this occult bookstore was a big deal. Find a ride with a neighbor, get on a train, go downtown by myself. It was a big deal. And I'd go to this occult bookstore, which was this hole in the wall that had things like the Bhagavad Gita, Ram Dass's Be Here Now, like it was crazy. But of course, I'd come in and there'd be the smell of incense, and the book guy had gone to India, and would be able to lead me around to all these different incredible books that were totally like I had to walk out of there like I was walking out of a porn shop. Like, let nobody see what books I've got under my shoulder. I had to hide my spiritual books when I got home. So I got in touch with the Course in Miracles shortly after it came out, and came home, and it became my life. My parents would be like, "What's that book?" "Oh, nothing." Like a book channeled by Jesus. That's all. But what grabbed me was that it said this book does not aim at teaching the meaning of love, which is beyond what could be taught. This book aims at removing the blocks to the awareness of love's presence. Okay? So I loved that so much because it's like, can't teach what love is, but let's remove the blocks to the awareness of love's presence. And our true nature actually is one of love. We've just mucked it up. And so there's this process of purification. And also in Patanjali Sutras it says union, yoga, is possible. Only purification is necessary first. Union, love, peace, union, enlightenment is possible. Only purification is necessary first. Purification are the practices. The yoga practices. They are meant to purify. Okay, so I like this because we've got a vibration that disarms. The disarming is those defenses that we have come up with, that we have built, that keep us away from being and living in our true essence and feeling in the present moment the connections and vibrations that are available. I also want to go just another route. So in the 70s, Maharishi Mahesh Yogi started his whole thing in Fairfield, Iowa. Big, beautiful ashram. And his thing was to say, we want to really meet science and yoga. We're going to take these ancient practices. And it was the first time where they were trying to scientifically substantiate many of the yogic practices as being valid and not just some weird woo-hoo stuff. So they were doing meditation practices. So TM came from this, and so they were doing all these measurements with yogis. And what they did was at first they had a lot of these Tibetan yogis who spent their lives meditating come over, and they were going to measure them. And so they put on all these electrodes. And every time they did this to one of these master yogis and they put all these electrodes over them, they were like, "Why are you doing that? They should be here. Like, you got it wrong. You're measuring the wrong place. Like, the shifts and changes are here." And I thought that's so interesting, that meditation itself, like that they were going, like, it's a heart opening, it's a heart vibration center. It's a whole different chakra or energy center than our head thing. It's like, quiet this thing so you can get to this thing, So yes, maybe that's the case, but this. There's another thing called mirror neurons. So there's lots of science out about the power of our hearts, and that each of our organs actually have like intelligence and brains in essence of their own. And so there's this stuff that talk about the hearts actually are like their own animals, and that hearts know other hearts. So even though my heart is here, like, and someone I love comes in, my heart knows that a heart that it loves just walked into its vibration, and that hearts get happy, like dogs wag their tails when they see their owner. Hearts get happy when another heart that they know is near them, and they start to vibrate together and literally start to beat together. And we've all been in experiences where you're sitting in a room and maybe someone begins to share, and the share gets authentic. And there's maybe some joyful or maybe not so joyful tears, and the energy shifts. Hearts open, and everyone's heart feels it. It's like, oh, her heart is open. It's like popcorn. Her heart is open. Her heart is open. Her heart is open. Well, that was what Kripalu was all about. It was about creating heart-opening experiences. to get people out of their head and into their heart. And Yogi Desai, who was really good at it, wasn't nearly as good as Swami Kripala. So, that was really interesting to be able to watch those differences. And I also, and this was a great honor, I'm not going to get off on this story, but Yogi Desai, from the time I met him to the time that I left, I feel, again, graced by this opportunity. I always say I moved in when Yogi Desai's Shakti was at its height, and I left when it was at its lowest. And watching, because I was actually one of his closest disciples. I was his assistant and lived with him and worked with him and served him. My service was serving him day and night. And I really got to see the choices that he made at an intimate level that started to take away his true power, in my sense. And, we often learn from, like I always say, many of the best things I learned from Yogi Desai were things not to do. So there's lots of ways to learn. And so that was just a grace. And saying all of that, because I have been with Yogi Desai recently, and he's actually just celebrated his 93rd birthday, and that man is amazing. He's got a vibration of love. The Acharyas were there. When were we there?
2017, 2018.
Maybe 2018, 2019.
So that's like 7 or 8 years ago. And tell your experience. So many of them, that was their first time meeting him. And of course, some of you know the Kripalu story or Yogi Desai story, but what was your experience?
Well, actually, the first time I met him was at Omega.
Oh.
So he had come to Omega, and a fellow friend and I went to see him, and it was the first time I saw him, and it was this really small group of people, but I didn't have the words for it, but it's what he said. It was like suddenly I didn't know why this man was like, I just knew that I loved him. I don't really, it was just this melting, and it was kind of weird because I am in my head, and my head was saying like, well, you don't know this person, how, and then I had a very profound experience in a darshan that he did where his face completely changed. And I had heard this thing about Shakti and Shakti Put and all of that, and I physically felt something in me change when he asked, there was a Q&A thing, and I got to ask a question, and his answer, and I don't even remember what the question was or what the answer was, but I just remember this feeling in me, and that was a change. It shifted something.
Cool.
Yeah.
Gosh, do
The first time I met him, well, the only time I met him was at his place in Ocala, I believe it was.
Yeah.
Ocala.
And to sit in his presence during his darshan, I think it was that one, and I got to ask him a question, and he just was so present, and you feel like, oh, I'm nobody to this person, but I am somebody, and I just when I sat there, and I don't even remember the question because you're in such a energy field with him, and he's so present. Even I think he was 85 at the time, and I think I asked him a simple question, and he just went into just an explanation and an answer, and I felt like he and I were the only two people in the room.
That's right.
Because the power of his presence, his vibration, and it just you just felt like you were one.
Cool. Narayan, were you also Lisa?
For a number of years, he was the guru on the Macrobiotic cruise ship. So I remember going into one of his talks, and I'd experienced transmission before from a teacher, so I knew what it felt like. And when I feel like he can turn it on, and he can not have it on, right? And I was in the presence of him turning it on. I was like, what? And he even talked about it. He goes, you might see me out in the cafe having a cup of coffee, God forbid, and, you know, judge me because, oh, who is this guy who drinks coffee? But that's not who I am. I'm not the personality that you see walking around, you know. And then it was just like, and you're like, what just happened? It was pretty incredible. And then I met him. David Newman took me there one time, and we sat in his house at that place, and it was incredible. It was maybe 4 years ago, but and I met his wife. And she lost her clothes in the gym, and I gave her my clothes, but she was something.
Yeah,
Also.
she was beautiful,
Yeah.
beautiful. The presence of love and a beautiful disciple of Babaji from her whole life, Swami Kripal. Yeah. Marion?
Yeah, I would say he's not the essence of Kripala, because his ego is very clear, but I could connect to the essence through him. He could take you there, for sure, in a really profound way.
Yeah, so this aspect, I think you said transmission, right? The word transmission. So there's, again, a lot of mischief in this word transmission and Shaktipat. And so prior to moving into Kripalu, I had read meditation. It's a really good thing, right? Read all the scientific reasons about why I should meditate, so I'm going to be devoted and I'm going to meditate. So 2 years before I even heard of Kripalu, I was disciplined, because discipline was the name of the game for practice. And every day at 7 a.m., I sat in a hardwood chair, God forbid it be comfortable, next to my kitchen window, and for 20 minutes every day, I did my meditation practice. And because I'd read the book about meditating, you sit quietly. I didn't know what meditation was. I thought I was meditating. How many people could say they meditated every day for 20 minutes, for 2 years? So I was a meditator, right, compared to anybody else. Very few people were meditating, right? But here's what I did. I sat down and I'd be like, oh my God, I'm so glad I'm sitting down. This is so amazing. Time to make lists. When you get up, what are you going to do? You're going to, well, we got to go grocery shopping today. Well, what do I need? I need bologna. I need thing. Let's make up an acronym. That bologna, little sausage, and paper towels, and saran wrap. Great. Bologna, paper towels, saran wrap. Okay, now I'm going off from here. I'm going to teach. What's on the curriculum today? Make sure you bring that book. Bring that book. Don't forget your thing. Oh, bring a change of clothes. You're going to the gym. And I thought this was meditating. It was amazing because, and I loved it. 20 minutes of planning my day, time with myself, got to get clear on things. I was convinced I was saving so much time because now I'm not going to forget the bologna when I go out shopping. I mean, I had it down, I'd wake out, I'd come out of my 20 minutes, and I felt great. Power of meditation. So after my 2-year practice, I moved into Kripalu. And I remember it was day 1. And we sat down in the morning. We would have morning practices at 4:30 in the morning, and then we'd come into the main hall and sit in meditation. And Yogi Desai was sitting up there, and he starts to meditate. And a couple hours go by, and I was like, he's not making a lunch list. like there was no mind going on. There was no mind going on. And I mean, in 3 days, my meditation practice went to a whole different place. Because of that transmission, I could read all I wanted, but without that input, that vibrational, experiential input, because I think people could have talked all they wanted to me, but without that vibrational transmission of getting an energetic upgrade, I don't think I would have progressed. So there's definitely a power in Sangha. Sangha means being around like-minded others and spiritual people who are on a spiritual practice path, because that really does make a shift.
And when, I remember being at Vipassana one time. It was at IMS, and it was Ruth Dennison, and we're just sitting there, and then she walks in the room, and you could feel the meditation go, like it just went, it clicked.
Yep.
Otherwise it was like, she sits down and then, because they have that space. It's so incredible.
Very
I felt like that with Thich Nhat Hanh a couple of times. This huge crowd of people, and they just that feeling. It was just such presence. Yeah.
So this aspect of love, and again, I think these all, it's like the rainbow. You know, like when we look, like all the rainbow is the light. Where does purple start, and then the red start, and then the orange start? Like they meld into each other. And for me, love is one of those words. You know, it's one of the seeming colors, but so is peace, so is connection, so is safe. They all go together. They're all really the same thing, the same part of the spectrum of the practice of, quote, you know, finding fulfillment or enlightenment or peace. Swami Kripalu was dedicated to the path of love. Okay, I think it's interesting that his biography was called Experiments in Love, and Gandhi's autobiography, was called Experiments in Truth. I thought that was really interesting. But Bhakti Yoga, which is really the original yoga. I mean, after Bhakti Yoga, there came Karma Yoga, which is really the yoga of selfless service. Then there came Jnana Yoga, which is the yoga of knowledge, of studying scripture and studying wisdom. And then there was last, Hatha Yoga, the yoga of health through, you know, the physical body. You know, all different paths for finding union. But the king of them all is Bhakti Yoga, the yoga of love, the path of love. So at Kripalu, we also used to have another saying that was really helpful. No matter what the question is, the answer is love. No matter what the question is, the answer is love. And it's really great to live in a community that is practicing that. Because again, we're a cloistered, celibate, renunciate, you know, community. And of course, living, working, worshiping together, you name it, it came up. You know, we had goals, and here we were doing our best to be egoless. But as conflict came up, love was the answer. So what's cool is, I mean, out in society, you don't know who you're playing with. You would get into a conflict and you don't know what their goals are. Their goals are the person who has the most money wins, and your goals are the person who has the hottest babe wins, and your goal is, you know, the person who's like, okay, we're not even on the same playing realms, you know, in terms of how to have discussions kind of deal. But when you live and work with people where everybody agrees, no matter what the question is, the answer here is love. And then you get conflict. It's like we don't go on, like everybody feels, we don't go on until we resolve this, you know, until we clarify this. There's something in here for you and me. This is coming up for a purpose. That's really cool. That's part of that, you know, love is possible, union is possible, enlightenment is possible, but purification is necessary first. And what I have found in terms of the difference of those that I would say who are living a truly spiritual life versus those who are just living a life is particularly about the purification. Like most people, when something goes wrong in their life, they're like, something's gone wrong in my life, why me? You know, and spiritual people are like you know, I have a challenge in my life right now, and it's my job to sort of break through this matrix. Why is this happening to me? Definitely, but like, wow, I have the ability to shift this. This is not happening accidentally. This is my divine curriculum that I've created so that I can get free of this situation and not be caught by it. So that I, you know, because there's a number of other sayings, which is peace, you know, peace is possible, but again, can you be peaceful when there's no peace outside of you? When everything around you is not in peace, can you be peaceful? Yes. Can I be comfortable in discomfort? You know, can I be whole around situations that are anything less than holy? And so this inward turning of like, wow, that's our responsibility. The inward looking rather than like, wow, I got to change this and you and the world so that I feel better. It's like, actually, I got to change me so that I feel better. And then that has the possibility, possibly, of changing the world so that it, you know, up levels. How are we doing time-wise? Oh, I see it. So any other things about love? Any thoughts? Any inquiries? Swami Prabhupada, I love this, I use this all the time, said everyone is in an inquiry into love. Everyone is in an inquiry into love. We're all inquiring into love. We all have edges about love. But if you think of some of your quests, which is really the heart of the word question, what inquiry are you into? What love inquiries are you in right now? Some of us are looking for the perfect partner. Some of us are trying to fix a conflict in our long-term marriage. Some of us are disliking our children. Some of us are, what inquiries are you in? Like how? My son is a lovely inquiry. So is my daughter. I'm like, wow, he is a challenge. And I definitely love him. He's someone who I've never felt more loved by, more challenged by, and more love from. But he's definitely a special person. So let him see the tape. This is not going public. So love inquiries. Anybody want to say a love inquiry that you're in? What experiment in love are you in right now? Yeah.
So, the way I think of it, before my experience in California, back in November, I would have said that there are like 3 kinds of love. There's like, I love your shirt, which is, everybody says that's love, but maybe it's not really love. And there's romantic love that maybe you have for another person. And then there's, through the Acharya transformation, we experienced spiritual love, which is being in a community of love where it's a different type of love. It's not romantic, but it's a very deep form of love. And I would have said that that's it. There's no other kinds of love other than that. And then I was at Esalen with Javina in the fall, and I had an experience of divine love, where there was some other force that was kind of moving through me and took me on a journey. And since that time, my inquiry has been, how can I rest in that more of the time, if not all the time? How am I keeping myself from being in that all the time? Because you ask I know that I am love. I know that's my home. That's where I'm going back to whenever I go. I could go there anytime, but only through grace. It's not. I can't choose right now in this moment. I'm going to go to that spot. It might happen through grace right now, but it's not like a conscious choice that I can make. I can consciously do purification practices and do the things that have contributed to those experiences that I've had in the past, but I have no control over whether or not I'll actually experience that divine love, in any given moment.
Okay, and I would say, yet. Just want to throw that out there, because I would say, in my experience, it's a little bit like, not that I've ever done drugs, but that's a joke. I have done a few. But often with an experience, different psychotropic drugs can open up different forms of awareness. And my experience is that when they do, these shifts of perception, bring us to an experience of our true self. This was my experience. And then there's, quote, coming down. And then, what I think is a really good challenge is, wow, I got shown, a possibility of my true nature. And now it's my job to do the work, not by drugs, to get to the place where what I experienced is actually a state of something that I can deliberately choose. So you got given a gift, a shift in awareness, and I would say it's there, and now you're noticing, wow, I can't deliberately turn that on or turn that off. It was a state of grace, it was a gift, but it's working on you. It's like a time release capsule, because you are still, I can hear the longing in your voice for it. That longing is worth something. That longing keeps you in the search for it, so the smelling for it, and the awareness of it, and the ready and the openness for it.
So even though I know that aspect of me exists outside of time, this clunker is still bound by time,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
And so there's like an anxiety that comes with the sense of urgency of, I can see the end of the runway. Do I have enough time to, get to that in this form?
But you're going there anyways, regardless. So
What's that?
You're going there anyways, regardless.
True.
Yeah. So, and you're there already at some level too. So, like, so there's a good, our impatience never helps us in the learning process. It sets us back. Anybody else? Anything about love increase in love, experiments in love, just so that we can hear. Is anybody in a love experiment? How about this? Raise your hand if you have a love experiment going on. What? A love experiment. An experiment in love of some kind. Right now, in your life, you have an experiment in love. Okay? Yeah, lots of experiments. I want to hear from you. Fill me in.
It's like constant experiments.
Uh-huh.
Constant.
Mm-hmm.
Many of them are from my children.
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting. Whatever ideas I had of love, it doesn't. The ideas don't really matter.
Mm-hmm.
I just keep learning new things, and the ideas are just things I'm either refuting or irrelevant anyway. So, I don't know.
That's great. So anybody who has children is in a love experiment.
Yeah.
So like that they are a love experiment, But then anybody connected to anybody's in a love. Anybody who has parents is in a love experiment. Anybody who has a friend is in a love experiment. Anybody who wants a lover of some kind is in a love experiment. And we all want that connection in some way. And there is some knowing deep inside of us that there's more. There's more. Yeah.
I will say, since apparently we're all telling Kripalu stories, I lived at Kripalu for almost a year, and I did. I was there
what
in the
years?
early 2000s, late 90s, and so I did Seva, and then they had the spiritual lifestyle program then.
Yep.
And then I stayed on and did teacher training, and I came to Kripalu, like, in the midst of like a real existential depression.
Mm-hmm.
And when
For Kripalu or for you?
Both,
Both actually.
So I guess we kind of put it together. And it really was like, I was convinced there was really nothing for me anywhere, right? As opposed to what you described as there is, and I'm going to find it.
Mm-hmm.
And it was sort of like, prove it to me, Kripalu.
Mm-hmm.
And my experience is that everyone that saw me kind of knew, in retrospect. They kind of like had my number.
Mm-hmm.
It was so obvious what I was doing to them. And then it was like a month in it where I realized what was really going on. And the way I experienced it was, I was so aware. It wasn't like a transmission from a specific person. It really was the whole energy of the community, and it was like the whole thing was wired. Like this building is just wired with electricity, and there are these outlets, and I was just a plug, and I wasn't in. I was just lying on the floor. And when I got to Kripalu, after a month of pushing everything away, somehow I got connected in, and then from that point on in my life, I know it's there. And so it's either my plug, I'm unplugged, and that, or I'm plugged in. And just, so hearing Mike talk about his experience of trying to get to this thing and how frustrating it is, even just knowing that it exists is enough in a lot of ways.
Yep. Yeah. Beautiful.
Today was a great day. I'm back for a month. I live away from my community, a long distance, and I've been making connections. One of my things on the list on returning to Maine, one of the top things was to connect, and I had a list of names that I wanted. And then there are random connections, and I think probably I've already said today I love you directly to people either on the phone or in person, maybe 5 times today.
Nice.
That's easy for me. My challenge is the resentment experience, and to reduce that. That's my job. I'm good at that too. Resentment experience. Yeah. And that's a challenge because I know the love thing. I got pretty good. It's okay. I don't have any problems saying I love you to people. And but now that we're talking about it, I'm thinking, what's my resentment experience like? And it's a challenge to reduce that and keep that door, the idea is to keep those doors open. And by way of those three first things that you said, primary, judgment, compassion, and
non-judgmental compassion, self-observation.
Self-observation.
Self-observation. Yep.
More of that.
Non-judgmental compassion and self-observation. Yep. All right. So, anybody else burning to say something about a love inquiry? Come up into a standing position. And we're going to leave our seats and come to the back of the room. Thank God we've got a nice big room. Great, so come to a standing position. Anywhere in the room, not a circle. So, just make a mob face any direction. Actually face me. But stagger yourselves. So, center. Great. Come in more. Great. So we got a bunch of great. Great. All right. So just take your arms for a moment and just make sure that when you turn your arms, you're not smacking anybody. That you don't deliberately want to smack. Great. And then bring your arms down too. So yoga poses. Lots of people think that yoga poses, that it's all about this form, and that it's all about getting it right. So we're going to play with a simple yoga pose. It's called Tadasana, mountain pose. Really simple, okay? So you got your feet here. So have your feet and plant them into the ground, and then rock for a moment from your toes to your heels. Sort of feel what your feet feel like. Feel your toes spread. Let it be playful. Just get it going now. Do it in a funny way. Get yourself rocking. Feel those feet stand on. Pretty odd and wonderful. Great. And now, because bones like to be stacked, in general, bones, if you hop a couple times, you can go hop, 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 stop. Okay. In general, unless you were hopping weird, because your bones like to be stacked, that's probably a hip width apart for you. Okay, so we're going to do it again. Just 2-3 times. Hop, hop, stop. Okay, so look at your feet and then wiggle your knees. Okay, nice and soft. Okay, rather than like kneecaps lifted and knees bent back. Just nice soft knees. Great. Bring your, I like to call these flight attendant fingers. Flighting will guide you. Exits are that way. So bring your flight attendant fingers to your sits bones, the bony part from your butt. Okay? Just doing this to show you all. So take the bony part of your butt, and like you have an alligator tail, you're going to set your alligator tail on the ground. Now it's not a big pelvic tilt. It's just the pelvic, the sitting bones come down towards your heels a bit, and the belly comes in. It's pretty gentle. Okay, we're actually still evolving. At one point we were a quadruped, and we're one of the few bipeds here, and we went from this, which many animals are, because all of our soft, vulnerable parts, the eyes, the genitals, the heart, they're here, and the back guards it all, and then all of a sudden we come up and all of our vulnerable parts are here to greet the world. So we're still evolving here with the hips. These sitting bones, when they come down a bit towards the heels and plant that alligator tail in the ground, just notice what happens when you put a little bit of weight on the alligator tail and weight comes back in the heels. Not like way back, but just, we're often, especially as Americans, we're on our toes, off into the future, chin juts forward, and we're like ready to go. So we're out into the future. What happens when you come back and put your weight in your heels, relax knees, you put a little weight on your alligator tail, sitting bones come down, and the belly comes in a little bit to form some abdominal engagement, core support. You let your bones hold you rather than this tense, can the muscles relax off the bone? Can you be present? So also our posture tells a lot, because people who are forward and that like that, as opposed to also when you meet somebody that's like they're way back here, it's like you gotta pull them in, down, I'll think about it, maybe next day. So our posture says a lot, and when we stand in the present moment, I am right here, right now, relaxed. Like that creates a vibration, an experience. So a little bit of weight on the heels, your bones are supporting you, your muscles can relax. So simple, Tadasana. I am a mountain. Feet grounded and rooted into the earth like you've got roots. Then imagine your crown chakra here lifting up to the heavens. So let that top of your head lift and open. Let the heart come up to the sky a bit, and let the shoulder blades come up. Right? Up to draw your shoulders up to your ears. Find it, and draw the shoulder blades back. Send your heart forward. Just open up the heart. Hang out there for a moment. And then let the shoulder blades glide down back, and let the shoulders just find their comfortable place. Like your arms are just hanging off of a hanger. Great. So we're going to start at the bottom again. Feet calmly, nicely planted. Weight back onto the heel bones. Alligator tail on the ground. Knees nice and soft. Belly gently in. Sitting bones towards the heels. Heart lifted. Crown up to the sky. Close your eyes now for a moment. And whatever effort you've got going on, reduce it. Find a soft, relaxed, present, centered, balanced posture. Balanced, relaxed, centered posture. And how do you feel? I think standing poses like this are one of the best meditations. Like you stand and meditate in this pose. It causes presence again, because you can't really zone out. You have to stay holding this pose in a relaxed, powerful way. So how do you feel? Say something about your experience in Tadasana, mountain pose.
I feel like I'm shifting. Like I'm not still.
So you feel yourself sort of moving forward and
Yeah.
moving back.
Yeah.
I guess. Cool.
Fluid. That's what I was saying.
I immediately started having a hot flash. As soon as I relaxed. I feel very grounded.
Grounded.
I feel like I want to move,
Okay.
you know.
So sort of, yeah.
I feel at ease.
At ease.
Spacious.
Spacious.
Aligned.
Happy.
Nice. All right. So open your eyes. And now come and find a partner, and specifically someone you don't know. And you're going to stand about, 3.5 feet away from each other. Raise your hand if you need a partner. That's great. You guys, you know each other. All right. You always have someone on the shoulder that you don't know. Find somebody you don't know. Okay. Okay, so Mary, would you come over and pray? All right. So now standing in front of your partner. Standing in front of your partner. Bring your attention to your feet again, and you're going to find a mountain pose. Okay, so have your feet hip width apart. Soften the knees and give them a little wiggle. Draw the sitting bones down towards your heels. The belly button comes in, and put a little bit of weight on that alligator tail. The tail goes down on the ground and you're like, yep, and the bones support you. Lift your heart gently towards the sky and feel your crown lift. I'm going to add one more image here now. We bring your awareness to the top of your head, to your crown center, your crown chakra. And imagine or feel the top of your head melting in some way, opening in some way, expanding. So that it's open to the heavens, and allow yourself to feel the stars up there. And as you breathe in, imagine sort of like a whale with a blowhole. You're just inhaling pure white divine light in through the heart, straight through the crown from the heavens. And as you exhale, this pure white source energy just permeates your cells, your fingertips, your toes, and it heads down into the earth, into the roots that go beyond the soles of your feet and ground you. Every time you breathe in, you drink in pure white divine light energy, fills up the heart center, and then every time you exhale, it just streams down the limbs, the toes, down into the earth. And make this image, this breath image, something that happens every time you inhale. It is a connection to source. This white divine source light is moving through you. You are deliberately cultivating this energy. You're deliberately aligning with this vibration. And it is shifting your vibration in your cells at a physical level, in your energy body at an energetic level, at an energy field auric level, in your mind at a mental level, shifting your thoughts to thoughts of peace and love and balance. Great. Now, gently open your eyes and land your gaze in the eyes of the person in front of you. And simply breathe and continue with the breath. As you inhale, you're drinking in source. As you exhale, it's filling you up, filling up the energy between you and around you. And as you exhale, it goes down into the ground and earth. And notice how when you open your eyes, how maybe the posture got a little tighter, or you got a little more uncomfortable, or you're like, what the hell am I doing? Just notice what happened in your Tadasana pose, simply by landing in the gaze of love. Now, say to yourself silently, while looking at this person, with your attention on the person, repeat to yourself, just like me. This person is seeking some happiness for his or her life. With attention on the person, repeat to yourself, just like me, this person is trying to avoid suffering in his or her life. With attention on the person, repeat to yourself, just like me, this person has known sadness, loneliness, and despair. With attention on the person, repeat to yourself, just like me, this person is seeking to fulfill his or her needs. With attention on the person, repeat to yourself, just like me, this person is learning about life. So notice this, love, connection, union is possible, but purification is necessary first. How is it that being present, fully seen, and intimacy, into me see, became such a difficult or unpopular So, gazing at your partner very gently and silently, draw your palms together in front of your heart and silently thank this person without touching. Silently bow or thank this person. And then move on and find another partner. Come into the center if you don't have a partner, and raise your hand if you don't have a partner. Great. Find yourself a partner. Somebody new, somebody different. It's going to be harder for you. Right? And so, go for it. All right, now this time, scoot a little bit closer. Just close. Great. And bring your awareness to your feet and pick them up just 1 foot at a time and just sort of get your feet comfortable in hip width apart. Great. Plant them on the ground. Soften your knees so they're nice and easy. Bring yourself up to your pelvis and have those sitting bones draw down towards the heels a bit and the belly comes in gently. Plant your alligator tail on the ground and lean into the alligator tail just slightly so your bones hold you. The leg bones support you. And the muscles on the leg bones can actually relax. Great. Bring your awareness to your heart, the center of your heart, and lift it slightly, open it. And notice how when the heart lifts, the chin will level, the head will come back some, the shoulder blades come back some, simply by lifting the heart. It's one of the greatest postural cues. Lift the heart. Open the heart. Lift and open the heart. Bring your awareness to your crown and imagine and feel the crown being lifted up by anti-force up to the sky. And now, tune in through your body and relax. Soften. If there's effort anywhere, soften. Great. And bring your awareness to your crown and begin the breath. Inhale, source, God, light, whatever you want to call it, pure healing, gratitude, love, compassion. Breathe it in through the crown, fill out the heart. As you exhale, it gently, easily, no effort at all, flows out the fingertips and the toes and down the legs and grounds you into the earth. Your own pace, inhaling pure white light, and it's shifting your vibration. If ever you need a lift, you can simply stand in Tadasana, ground yourself on the ground, and connect yourself to the heavens and start the breath and let that alchemical mix and shift in vibration happen. Now gently open your eyes and land in your partner's gaze. And if your eyes have been open the whole time, that's cool too. Just land in your partner's gaze. And notice if there was any shifts in your breath or your posture or your mind or your comfort or your discomfort. Those are really the purifications that are necessary. Like, what would it be like if those could just soften? What if all the defenses about being seen and seeing could just be dropped, be insignificant? What if you exercised the muscle of presence with no effort? I am loving awareness here and now. With your attention on the person, repeat to yourself, just like me, this person is seeking some happiness for his or her life. With attention on the person, repeat to yourself, just like me, this person is trying to avoid suffering in his or her life. attention on the person just like me. This person has known sadness, loneliness, and despair. Put attention on the person just like me. This person is seeking to fulfill his or her needs. Just like me, this person is learning about life. Notice how you feel, and very gently draw the palms together in front of the heart. Again, no need to touch or speak. Simply bow or acknowledge in your silent way, thanking each other for this time of presence together. Great. Tadasana, the mountain pose, presence. So come on back to your seat. Closing. So, how was that?
Great, really great.
So, again, this purpose of asana, is actually to simply allow the body to be a vehicle for greater and higher vibrations of love. It's not about putting your foot behind your head. As I like to say, it's in my yoga teacher manual. Great, so you can put your foot behind your head. You're still an asshole. So, it's not about that. It's not about attaining any pose or any great enlightenment. But it is about presence and being a vehicle and allowing how much can I be a vehicle for the vibration of love. And it's one of my favorite things to do is to stand in line. I take every opportunity that I'm waiting in a standing position to go Tadasana. Right here, I'm just going to start breathing in pure light from the heavens, and I'm going to let it emanate out right here in the grocery store, in the line, and just connect to source, have it move through any healing, just up-level the vibration. Most of us, of course, are tuned into this vibration. And then the news, which I'd like to title not the news, but what to fear. Turn on what to fear. Oh my God, the economy is going to blow, and then this is going to happen, and people were murdered, and we're in a war over here, and he said this today, and oh my God, what to fear. Okay, we love fear. Love fear. And the amount of times that good news programs have been like, wait, there should be a good news program about all the good things happening. Nobody's interested. We want the fear. Turn on what to fear. So it takes a lot to unplug from fear channel and go, wow, like you said, because I always think of this too, the plug. What am I plugging into? Plug into source. Plug in that every inhale, and that's what pranayama is. You literally start to connect and say every inhale is a conscious connection to a high vibration. Every inhale is a conscious connection to a high vibration. One of the sayings from A Course in Miracles, and I really love A Course in Miracles in yoga, they go beautifully together. One of my favorite quotes from A Course in Miracles is, "In my defenselessness, my safety lies." In my defenselessness, my safety lies. And it's opposite of the world's thinking. We think, oh my God, I got to defend myself, I got to control, I got to figure it all out. In our defenselessness, what happens is, if you are a vibration of gratitude, if you are a vibration of love, here's what happens. It attracts loving, grateful people, and it repels other people. It repels other people. You don't have to defend yourself. It's literally scary to other people who live in fear. So defenseless, connect to gratitude, connect to love, and they're like, what is that? So, no defense needed. Just plug into source, breathe it in, and have it move through you. And again, when you practice, like every pose is really meant, like in yoga, the purification is this. We do yoga in the body, okay, to break up habitual, indoctrinated, unconscious patterning that are held in the cells. Nothing magical about yoga poses. It's just that you're doing non-habitual movements, because normally we get to be 14 and we sit, we lay down, and we stand. Those are the 3 poses that happen after you're 14. But wow, suddenly in yoga you're like, I'm going to lean this way, I'm going to lean this way, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, I'm going to try this, I'm going to try that. Great, okay. Nothing magical about which way you move. What's happening is you're breaking up habitual, indoctrinated patterning. And in the process of doing yoga, you go, wow, my right shoulder is very different than my left shoulder. Wow, I've got one thing going on in my hip. And it's just about getting information about you. So that's asana. Then the next rung is pranayama. You start to work with your energy field and your breath. You start to learn how to breathe. There's breaths that heat things up and cathart things and get things moving that are stagnant. There's breaths that calm things down and bring you into a place of balance and stillness. We want to be able to do both as a master on the planet. We want to heat things up when we need to heat them up and cool things down when we need to cool them down. It's simply you do those practices so you break up habitual, indoctrinated, unconscious patterning that are held in your energy field and your breath. And then meditation, concentration exercises. We do those meditation and concentration exercises to break up habitual, indoctrinated, and unconscious patterns that are held in our brain, our belief systems. And that's what this is about, is we do all of those practices so that we can establish non-judgmental, compassionate self-observation, witness consciousness, the voice of the soul. Swami Kripalu said the highest yoga practice is to develop non-judgmental, compassionate self-observation in everything that you do. So when you practice, playing in these inquiries, they're just playful inquiries that break up habitual, indoctrinated, unconscious patterning, because that's the purification that's necessary. And we make it conscious. And when it's conscious, that's when we're free. Okay, because freedom, if we were to sit here and say, what's freedom? And we had a big discussion about, let's break down what is freedom. We would all eventually get to the point where we said freedom is the ability to choose. Freedom is the ability to choose. Okay? But most people aren't really free from their habitual, indoctrinated, unconscious patterning. It's doing them. As I like to say, Kripalu, we used to say, is it doing you or are you doing it? If it's doing you, you're not free. That's where purification is necessary. You want to get to a point where you're doing it. And again, the worst thing you could say at Kripalu to someone is, oh, he's attached. It's like, oh, I'm attached, oh my God. It's like, it's a swear word. It's like worse than saying, fuck you. It's like, oh my God, I'm attached. Non-attachment is the goal of all yogis, So, but our attachments are our habitual, indoctrinated, and unconscious patterning. And that's where purification is really necessary, to break that up so that we find freedom. And freedom to really love. Because no matter what the question is, love is the answer. And being able to have, in our brief moment here, with our wild-ass guesses, some experiences of love. To say, wow, I loved, I hurt, I grieve, I feel, I'm alive. So, are you with me for 4 more minutes? Because it's 9 o'clock. Because we've got Gita here, and I would just want to lead us in a final meditation with this beautiful sound behind us. So, get comfortable. Get comfortable in any way that comfort is for you. a slow, deliberate inhalation and exhalation. Feel yourself breathing in and out. When you get to the top of your breath and your breath is full, just pause at the top. Not a breath hold, but just a pause, like where you acknowledge, yep, that's the top of the breath. And then begin your descent, your exhale. Slow, long, luxurious exhales at your own pace. Envision your spine, your spinal column. And imagine it like a steel rod that's actually hollow. Stainless steel hollow rod. And as you breathe in and out, feel your breath going up and down the inside of that hollow stainless steel rod. From crown to tail. Bring your awareness to your sits bones and to your tailbone, and imagine going down into the ground roots that go deep and wide. Roots that are digging into the earth in every direction, searching for water and nutrients, grounding you into the mother. Then bring yourself up through the steel rod to the very crown of the head, and imagine the top of your head opening like a flower, like a lotus. Softening. And because your awareness is unlimited, find yourself leaving and going beyond your body out into the infinite stars. Let yourself feel what it feels like to be out in outer space. Stars endlessly in every direction. Let yourself expand and feel out to the edges of the infinite universe. There's a very real vibration out in the infinite. And notice how out there there's quiet and there's peace. Incredible stillness in the big picture. And now continue with your breath where you breathe that peaceful, infinite energy down into this very limited body and pressing it, exhaling it down into the core of the earth. And then on your next day, inhale up through the earth, the pure energy from the mother. And as you exhale that out into the heavens. At your own pace, inhale from the heavens in through the crown and exhale it down, the steel rod down into the core of the earth. And at your own pace, inhaling from the earth up through the steel rod out into the infinite heavens. You are balancing and aligning your vibration with the highest, purest vibrations of the infinite universe and the planet that you live on. and we're made from. Simply by seating yourself in this breath and experiencing this truth and keeping your attention on this vibration, you are healing and aligning and amplifying the vibration of love. Without doing anything, your cells are shifting. Without doing more, the vibration and energy field around you is shifting, and people can feel it. This is the experience of union yoga. The difficulty is with its simplicity. The difficulty is with its simplicity. Practice. 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 Notice how you feel. You're in charge of your attention. You're in charge of what you choose to align with. Very slowly, very gently draw the palms together in front of the beautiful heart. And gently open your eyes. I'm very fortunate to live minutes from Ram Dass's house. Ram Dass lived on Maui the last 18 years of his life, passed away 6 years ago. And his house, it's called Hartman, Maui. There's Sunday kirtan, I lead yoga there. There's meditation every week that we sing the Hanuman Chalisa on too. Lots of wonderful, wonderful things. And Ram Dass settled, after many years, his last years of his life, he settled into these 3 words that I really have taken on, which is I am, well, 4 words. I am loving awareness. I am loving awareness. Was his mantra. And I love that because to me it's again that witness consciousness, non-judgmental, compassionate self-observation. I am loving awareness. I am loving awareness. So just want to leave that with you as well as Jai Bhagwan. Victory to your infinite, eternal, wonderful self. For those of you that are coming tomorrow, I so look forward to being with you. We're going to do some wonderful things. For those of you who are deciding to come tomorrow, come. For those of you who aren't coming tomorrow, goodbye. Thank you so much. I'll be here. I'm open to any comments, questions, anything. Would love to hear from you. And thank you endlessly, wonderfully. I'm honored to be here. Thank you for your time and attention.
How's Archie? That might be the question.
He's good. He's good. Yeah. No, he's good.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.